Romulus, Romulus, and Remus, Remes, were the twin brothers and main characters of Rome's foundation myth. Their mother was Rhea Silvia, daughter of Numiter, king of Alba Longa. Before their conception, Numiter's brother Amulius seized power, killed Numiter's male heirs and forced Rhea Silvia to become a Vestal virgin, sworn to chastity. Rhea Silvia conceived the twins by the god Mars. Once the twins were born, Amulius had them abandoned to die in the Tiber River. They were saved by a series of miraculous interventions. The river carried them to safety, a she-wolf found and suckled them, and a woodpecker fed them. A shepherd and his wife found them and fostered them to manhood as simple shepherds. The twins, still ignorant of their true origins, proved to be natural leaders. Each acquired many followers. When they discovered the truth of their birth, they killed Amulius and restored Numiter to his throne. Rather than wait to inherit Alba Longa, they chose to found a new city. While Romulus wanted to found the new city on the Palatine Hill, Remus preferred the Aventine Hill. They agreed to determine the site through augury, but when each claimed the results in his own favor, they quarreled and Remus was killed. Romulus founded the new city, named it Rome, after himself, and created its first legions and senate. The new city grew rapidly, swelled by landless refugees, as most of these were male and unmarried. Romulus arranged the abduction of women from the neighboring Sabines. The ensuing war ended with the joining of Sabines and Romans as one Roman people. Thanks to divine favor and Romulus's inspired leadership, Rome became a dominant force, but Romulus himself became increasingly autocratic. Disappeared or died in mysterious circumstances. In later forms of the myth, he ascended to heaven and was identified with Quirinus, the divine personification of the Roman people. The legend as a whole encapsulates Rome's ideas of itself, its origins and moral values. For modern scholarship, it remains one of the most complex and problematic of all foundation myths, particularly Remus's death. Ancient historians had no doubt that Romulus gave his name to the city. Most modern historians believe his name-back formation from the name Rome. The basis for Remus's name and role remain subjects of ancient and modern speculation. The myth was fully developed into something like an official, chronological version in the late Republican and early Imperial era. Roman historians dated the city's foundation to between 758 and 728 BC, and Plutarch reckoned the twins' birth year as a c. 27/28 March 771 BC. An earlier tradition that gave Romulus a distant ancestor in the semi-divine Trojan prince Aeneas was further embellished, and Romulus was made the direct ancestor of Rome's first imperial dynasty. Possible historical bases for the broad mythological narrative remain unclear and disputed. The image of the she-wolf suckling the divinely fathered twins became an iconic representation of the city and its founding legend, making Romulus and Remus preeminent among the feral children of ancient mythography. The legend in ancient sources. Modern scholarship approaches the various known stories of Romulus and Remus as cumulative elaborations and later interpretations of Roman foundation myth. Particular versions and collations were presented by Roman historians as authoritative, an official history trimmed of contradictions and untidy variants to justify contemporary developments, genealogies and actions in relation to Roman morality. Other narratives appear to represent popular or folkloric tradition. Some of these remain inscrutable in purpose and meaning. Wiseman sums the whole as the mythography of an unusually problematic foundation in early history. Cornell and others describe particular elements of the mythos as shameful. Nevertheless, by the 4th century BC, the fundamentals of the Romulus and Remus story were standard Roman fare, and by 269 BC the wolf and suckling twins appeared on one of the earliest, if not the earliest issues of Roman silver coinage. Rome's foundation story was evidently a matter of national pride. It featured in the earliest known history of Rome, which was attributed to Diocles of Pepergus. The patrician senator Quintus Fabius Pictor used Diocles as a source for his own history of Rome, written around the time of Rome's war with Hannibal and probably intended for circulation among Rome's Greek-speaking allies. Fabius' history provided a basis for the early books of Livius ab Urbe Condita, which he wrote in Latin, and for several Greek-language histories of Rome, including Dionysius of Halicarnassus's Roman Antiquities, written during the late 1st century BC, and Plutarch's early 2nd century Life of Romulus. These three accounts provide the broad literary basis for studies of Rome's founding mythography. They have much in common, but each is selective to its purpose. Livius is a dignified handbook, justifying the purpose and morality of Roman traditions observed in his own times. Dionysius and Plutarch approach the same subjects as interested outsiders, and include founder traditions not mentioned by Livy, untraceable to a common source and probably specific to particular regions, social classes or oral traditions. A Roman text of the late imperial era, Origo Gentis Romani, is dedicated to the many, more or less bizarre, often contradictory variants of Rome's foundation myth, including versions in which Remus founds a city named Remuria, 5 miles from Rome, and outlives his brother Romulus. Stories of ancestry and parentage. There are several variations on the basic legendary tale. Plutarch presents Romulus's and Remus's ancient descent from Prince Aeneas, fugitive from Troy after its destruction by the Achaeans. Their maternal grandfather is his descendant Numitor, who inherits the kingship of Alba Longa. Numitor's brother Amulius inherits its treasury, including the gold brought by Aeneas from Troy. Amulius uses his control of the treasury to dethrone Numitor, but fears that Numitor's daughter, Rhea Silvia, will bear children who could overthrow him. Amulius forces Rhea Silvia into perpetual virginity as a Vestal priestess, but she bears children anyway. In one variation of the story, Mars, god of war, seduces and impregnates her. In another, Amulius himself seduces her, and in yet another, Hercules, the king, sees his niece's pregnancy and confines her. She gives birth to twin boys of remarkable beauty. Her uncle orders her death and theirs. One account holds that he has Rhea buried alive, the standard punishment for Vestal virgins who violated their vow of celibacy, and orders the death of the twins by exposure. Both means would avoid his direct blood guilt. In another, he has Rhea and her twins thrown into the river Tiber. In every version, a servant is charged with the deed of killing the twins, but cannot bring himself to harm them. He places them in a basket and leaves it on the banks of the Tiber. The river rises in flood and carries the twins downstream, unharmed. The river deity Tiberinus makes the basket catch in the roots of a fig tree that grows in the Velabrum swamp at the base of the Palatine Hill. The twins are found and suckled by a she-wolf and fed by a woodpecker. In another variant, Hercules impregnates Acca Laurentia and marries her off to the shepherd Faustulus. She has 12 sons. When one of them dies, Romulus takes his place to found the priestly college of Arval brothers Fratres Arvales. Acca Laurentia is therefore identified with the Arval goddess Didia, who is served by the Arvals. In later Republican religious tradition, a Quirinal priest impersonated Romulus to perform funerary rites for his foster mother. Another and probably late tradition has Acca Laurentia as a sacred prostitute. Yet another tradition relates that Romulus and Remus are nursed by the wolf goddess Lupa or Luperca in her cave lair. Luperca was given cult for her protection of sheep from wolves, and her spouse was the wolf and shepherd god Lupercus, who brought fertility to the flocks. She has been identified with Acca Laurentia, founding of Rome. In all versions of the founding myth, the twins grew up as shepherds. While tending their flocks, they came into conflict with the shepherds of Amulius. Remus was captured and brought before Amulius, who eventually discovers his identity. Romulus raised a band of shepherds to liberate his brother and Amulius was killed. Romulus and Remus were conjointly offered the crown but they refused it and restored Numita to the throne. They left to found their own city, but could not agree on its location. Romulus preferred the Palatine Hill, Remus preferred the Aventine Hill. They agreed to seek the will of the gods in this matter, through augury. Each took position on his respective hill and prepared a sacred space there. Remus saw 6 auspicious birds, but Romulus saw 12. Romulus claimed superior augury as the divine basis of his right to decide. Remus made a counterclaim. He saw his 6 vultures first. Romulus set to work with his supporters, digging a trench around the Palatine to define his city boundary. Death of Remus. Livy gave 2 versions of Remus's death. In the one, more generally received, Remus criticized and belittles the new wall, and in a final insult to the new city and its founder alike, he leaped over it. Romulus killed him, saying, "So perish everyone that shall hereafter leap over my wall." In the other version, Remus was simply stated as dead. No murder was alleged. 2 other, lesser-known accounts have Remus killed by a blow to the head with a spade, wielded either by Romulus's commander Fabius or by a man named Sulla. Romulus buried Remus with honor and regret. The Roman Urbe Condita began from the founding of the city, and places that date as the 21st of April 753 BC.